It's the premiere of Around the County with Nelson County Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins. This show is made possible by Joe Hill Automotive Center. It will occur each Tuesday during the 11 o'clock hour on WBRT and all of its broadcast properties. A video replay will also be made available in a couple of days, and we'll keep you up to date with those. Again, this is a weekly show, and we welcome to the host of the show.
Yeah. Thank you, Ross.
Nelson County Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I hope we got a big audience, and glad to be here. This is what I guess you call a kickoff show, and so happy to be here. I hope it's good. I guess one of my main goals when I talked to you about this before is just being transparent. And this fiscal court has been very, very transparent. It's taken us a while to get to this level with our Facebook post and all the reports we put out every month with, I think, about 30 different departments throughout the county, and a lot of them not even under the fiscal court umbrella. And we put that very detailed report out. It's probably a half inch thick about everything that's going on in the county. And we do that every month in their second meeting. And we compile that report, and then we put it, of course, on the Facebook and all the sites, websites, and everybody picks up on it and just lets everybody know what is going on in this community. And that's our number one goal, I think. And that's the reason I'm here today, for the same reason. I hear people ask questions from time to time. So,
well, what is the number one question you get? Does one stand out?
Not in particular as far as one question. One thing I do get is, since I had the cancer, is quite often is how you doing, and glad you're doing well, and that's been very appreciative. And I came down with that, I don't know, 6 months after I got in office, and just to elaborate on that a little bit, so everybody, I'm doing well, my health is good, and I got a clean bill of health, and went through all those treatments, and thank goodness that turned out over the way, because it could have been a lot worse, and there's a lot of people out there that's struggling a lot worse than I am, so I'm very thankful for that. So let everybody know that everything is good on the health side. Now, I did have the flu last week. That wasn't very good, but that's going around. There is a lot of flu, and I guess COVID going around too. Schools and several counties have let schools out and so on. So that's pretty widespread right now. Yeah. But it's been good. People ask me, do I like it? And I do. I know I like public service. That's what I ran for. And I had an agenda that I ran on, and we're trying to accomplish those goals, and I think we've achieved a lot of them. I've got a very good conservative fiscal court, and everybody gets along fine, and we've made a lot of accomplishments, and it's been good. It's tough. Now, it's not easy. It's been tough. We're having a problem like right now. We got the bids. You've probably seen that on the heat and air system in the courthouse, the old boiler system that they've been band-aiding for years, and the second year here, I've been in 2 years, and it just completely fell apart and went out. I spent a lot of money out over the years, and so we got bids, and bids came in extremely high, and I'm negotiating. Matter of fact, right now, the bid came in at $1.1 million. We anticipated $600,000-$700,000, and so the county engineer, Brad Spalding, and myself, and we have sat down and went through everything, and as a matter of fact, I did yesterday, and hopefully in another week we'll sit down. Music Construction was the only bidder. We've been in contact with them, and we're working on some changes that we can make and still be successful at it and get the price down. And it's hard to spend. As a matter of fact, having that kind of money laying around, there's a lot of needs. You got the EMS and the road departments and all the emergency services that you got to provide, and we don't want to make sure we don't spend any reserves that we have to. But we got to fix it. It's been a problem. The old courthouse has been in bad shape for years. First came in, you had all that mildew and water and leaks and drywall and plaster, and it'd be point blank. It's kind of embarrassing, really, when you go up the steps there. So we went in a little over the 2 years and basically remodeled the whole upstairs. Did a lot of it in-house with our employees and so on. And it really looks good. Turned out really nice. There were a few leaks on the roof we still got to address, but we got to get this heat and air system fixed. And of course the tourism department downstairs with the Main Street and the NCDA and BIDC, and they're going to do some remodeling downstairs with some of their money. We're helping oversee that package too. So, but it's almost, they brought it up in court today, matter of fact, can we kind of do it in phases? But not saying we can't, but it would be very difficult. Probably cost us a lot more money long term if we don't do it all together, because you got to be these chases and then all these vaults and things. It's complicated.
You know, one thing that when you see all the beautiful pictures of our beautiful community, about half of them highlight that beautiful visitor center, you know, the picture right down the middle of the street.
Well, they're on all the different news channels. Like I say, you had Today's Show came in, and you know, the outside we've done. You know, the outside the courthouse. Previous administration did some work on that. We've done some more and working on. Actually, we went in and cleaned it last fall. I had a company come in and clean all the black soot or whatever you want to call it from top to bottom. And until you see some of it after it's cleaned, you don't realize how dirty it is or was. And so we did that. We got rid of, because I worked with the Main Street and put all those lights up that you see, the decorative lights, seasonal lights. They were spending, I forget the exact number, every year they asked me. So we went in with the tourism and Main Street and helped put those lights up permanently. And while we did that, he had to dig some trenches. And some of the sprinkler systems were leaking, so we re-landscaped the whole outside while we were doing all that. It's kind of you almost had to do it together. And that really turned out nice and looks good, and I think at this point the outside is pretty much finished. We got a little bit to do maybe, but not much. So, yeah, you turn on a lot of channels, you'll see that downtown, and, you know, we've got a nice, beautiful downtown, and I'll commend all the previous administrations and what they've done, Main Street Tourism and the Chamber and, of course, the City Council and Mayor Heaton. It's just over the years, and you'll see it. I mean, that's why we get all these awards, you know.
Yeah. Judge, I see on the counter here, and we talk about beautification. One thing to help beautify is to get rid of trash and those things, and the roadside cleanup is just around the corner.
Well, the bulk item pickup, we talked about it in court again today, and it starts February the 24th, and people can go on the sites and fiscal court sites and all and see their, basically go down Louisville Road is, that's where their first starting is. The reason I brought this today is letting people know that, and I announced in court today, and the fiscal court approved that we're going to also pick up limbs, small trees and limbs that we got destroyed in this ice storm. I've had multiple calls, and as some of the others, people don't have the means to haul them. Some people don't have the trucks or trailers. You can burn out in the county, but it's kind of tough to burn when you live next door to somebody else and trying to burn a brush pile. And so we have we've done that. They have done that in the past when we needed it, and we'll take all that to the old quarry. It does not go to the landfill. So, and that's what I'm telling them today, letting people know that the brush and trees, and they can get everything out to the edge of the road, and they need to start on it today and get it cut up and get it out there and keep it separate. You got the we want to call it garbage in one pile, the tires in another pile, and the limbs and the small trees in another pile. And we're going to, as we go down these paths, we're going to pick it up and clean it up as we go. We don't want to have to come back. So I'm just going to let everybody know that today. We announced it in court today, and that would really help us get the county, like I say, cleaned up. You'll see this card, and everybody should get one. A lot of them get these. One thing, there's a misprint on here, because we took over New Haven's garbage last, I'm going to say probably July or so, and we did a bulky item pickup there initially to help them get caught up, which we agreed to when we did negotiations with the New Haven and the mayor. And then, of course, it starts just like everybody else on the rotation. Well, it says on this card, New Haven, it does not include New Haven. There's a misprint. So New Haven is included. So when people see that, they won't be all calling the hotline and saying they're not getting picked up. So New Haven is included.
Inside or outside the city limits?
Yes, that's right. And but like I say, we start on this thing, and hopefully everybody gets their stuff out, and this will help keep the county beautified. So there's a lot going on, that's for sure. And let everybody know that they know the number to call here if they need to call in for any phones. I like to take calls, and that's one of my goals here is to get questions that we can get answers to.
Okay.
If you can announce that, I don't know the numbers and things.
You soon will. No, 348-2222. 348-2222. Gentleman from Cox's Creek would like to hear from Judge Hutchins about the status of the barrel tax and how the judge and Representative Massaroni, Candy referring to, are trying to replace the lost revenue, and would like to hear how the courthouse renovation is going. So we talked a little bit about the courthouse renovation.
Yeah.
You can add more.
Well, the courthouse renovation, again, when I say the upstairs part is where the code enforcement's at. You've got the fiscal courtroom, you have the treasurer, administrative offices, of course, the judge's office, and I'd say in about another week, we do a little bit of touch-up. We've got that thing pretty much done. Now, the insurance paid part of that. When I first came in, they had a pipe busted, and planning and zoning was there, and they had to relocate and made a big mess, and they started that before I got in on that piece of it. The insurance paid part of it. And I'm going to say kind of in a circle, we just started going around little by little. You remember all the bees out front?
Oh, yeah.
We tore all that out, and we found out 2 big beehives, and then I found out all the rafters were rotted out, and that was a really, really tough job. Then we left the brick exposed on the front wall instead of putting plaster back, and we had a gentleman come in and actually put a postage stamp brick there. So if you go in the courthouse upstairs, you'll see, and we'll probably put some before and after pictures. I don't know if we've done that yet or not, but it really, really turned out nice and very inexpensive because we did a bunch of it in-house and used the inmates to do a lot of tear-outs and our road department crews and our maintenance guys, and we did have a few things we had to bid out on the carpet and things like that. I don't know what the total cost was, but it was very inexpensive. If we had hired it all out at one time, there's no doubt what it could have been. So, but the downstairs again, the renovation that was going to be paid for by the Tourist Commission to fix some offices, we get some more privacy, and the heat and air unit. I just said that earlier, and we're in negotiations right now trying to get that worked out. And I know we're going to get something worked out. How are we going to pay for it? You know, that's. We're not broke, but we don't have a lot of money laying around, and I don't want a lot of money laying around because somebody usually finds a way to use it or spend it. We're in good financial shape, and I think we'll get that negotiated down here in a couple of weeks where we can hopefully get all that done. The heat went out, the coldest day of the year. Would have got down to below zero, and it all went out at the same time. So we're getting through it. Just have to be creative. And the other question was...
involved
the barrel tax. The barrel tax. Well, just let the public know, if they don't know, that I fought that my first year coming in, and it was hell. I'm going to tell you right now. I went to Frankfurt, I don't know how many times, and Mayor Heaton went with me to Frankfurt, and of course Candy Mastroni and Senator Higdon, and we fought hard. Now, we did get a lot of things done, spread it out over 20 years. They're actually going to have a cleanup bill coming through. I met with some of them the other day on these industrial revenue bonds, which I campaigned heavily on when I ran about all these. We've got about $1.2 billion on the property tax rolls that we get nothing out of for 30 years because of all these industrial revenue bonds. Now, there's some pilot agreements in some of them and so on. So we get about, I think we're budgeted about 1.9 million a year that we receive in the barrel tax. And we think we first thought it'd be about 10, 11 years before it starts going south because we do have some growth. Now, after reevaluating it today or last few days, That number probably won't climb for 10 years like we first anticipated because of the bourbon slow down in the growth area. And so you just think about $2 million. I think it was $8.6 million countywide with the schools, and some of them are going to be funded through different programs. And but it's $8.6 million countywide. Now we fought that battle. We lost part of that battle, and so now we're trying to come up with some ways. I'm working on some other avenues and streams to come in. We lowered our property tax rate since I came in, 13.7 to 12. We even went lower what the state recommended the last 2 years. We could have took that 4% growth both years and been up there. Now, I got a little bit of kickback from some people internally that they said we need to keep that 4% growth. I said, well, I campaign on being very frugal and keep taxes as low as we can and make as many cuts as we can, eliminate as much waste as we can, and I think we've done that. And I can show you on another piece of paper how much money we have saved by doing that. Now, so we went from 13.7 down to 12 because you have your growth, your reassessments and all that, which we don't control. But the tax rate, we think, by analyzing this, is if we didn't have all these industrial revenue bonds on the books, the county side of the property tax rate would probably be about 9.2 instead of 12.
Because as you said, $1.2 billion.
There's a 1.2 billion or more on the books that we collect zero out of. Now, there's reasons why some of them did it. You can go back to the barrel tax and so on, but I campaigned on that. I won by a huge margin because I would have never agreed to 30 years, no taxes. So that's where we're at on that. We are looking at other avenues and revenue streams, and you'll see some more of that coming down the pipe because a lot of things we're working on behind the scenes right now.
Judge,
what you got?
Have a phone call if you'd like to headphone up, as we say.
Yes, sir.
And we'll make sure everybody can hear okay.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
I can hear myself too.
We go to the phone and make sure I get a button or two pushed. Jeremy Smith of Fairfield on the line. Thank you, Mr. Smith, for calling.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, I was calling to see if Tim, we had this ice storm and had branches and stuff that's fallen. I've cut them all up and put them on the edge of the road. I have no way to take them to the landfill or any place. Well, is the county going to pick those up if I call them, or what do you suggest?
We announced it today in fiscal court. I talked about that a little bit earlier here on the show, that we are going to pick up limbs and small trees, and get them out on the edge of the road like you just talked about. And
Yes, sir.
Then we'll pick them up when we do the bulky item as we go.
Yep.
Go ahead, sir.
Judge, Mr. Smith, do you live within the corporate city limits of Fairfield or outside?
Yes, I live by the church.
Yeah, Fairfield is included in this, so we do pick up all of Fairfield's garbage, and that's part of the program we've got already. Okay. Then New Haven, the only one we don't do now is City of Bardstown and the City of Bloomfield.
Okay.
Other than that, Fairfield is part of the program. So yes, sir, we will be picking them up and encourage your neighbors and everybody to get them out and try to keep them separate from the other junk and trash and so on.
Okay, thank you very much. You have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, for calling in. Our number 348-2222 to have a question and with Judge Executive Hutchins, and you can use that exact same number to text in. Judge, I have another text question. I'll spin around and read it. It says, why is it that the people that work for the city and the water district drive company trucks home every day, and a lot of them drive them on weekends, and the taxpayers are paying for gas for them to run around? Now, he used the word city and the water district.
I don't know where they live out here, but the first answer to that question is the county is not in the water business, and so it wouldn't be any of the county employees. Now, when it comes to the City of Bardstown or North Nelson, I don't know how many trucks they got out, but to defend the City of Bardstown, they've got their trucks and they've got these guys out on call, and I think they actually call them Public Works. So they I'm assuming they'd have to ask the city council that, but I think probably when they got these guys out, they're on call 24 hours a day, most of them. And I'm sure they do internet and water and of course sewer and multiple things if there's a break or a leak or whatever to be on call. I don't know I do not know their automobile policy in the city. I don't know how it is, but that would be a question they would have to ask the city council.
Those in the police, whether it be city police or sheriff's department, obviously they take their cars home because they have
Yes.
to respond, even if they're off duty. They many times they're called in to respond.
We
Yeah,
have,
I'm sorry.
you have another one?
No, I just double checked.
We have, and I talked to Brad Spalding, our engineer at the road department. Did I lose you?
You're fine. It's probably just the headphones.
I don't know what I did. Am I good?
You're good over here. You're good on the air.
I think it's a little bit loud, Rolf.
Okay.
But come to the county side on our public works or the road department, and we call it, we've got, I think I'm correct here, probably 2 or 3 that takes home trucks. And all that in that department for storms, limbs, trees, emergencies at night when they go out and they got chainsaws and equipment in their vehicles they use to, we've had those trees and stuff hit the roads and limbs and they go out and they're on call. So yes, we do have that in that situation.
Speaking of, I'll give a little, I'll call it a pet peeve, but and this is a lot of it in Bullitt County, but 245 seemed to have suffered a lot of tree limbs falling over during the recent weather developments. A lot of them are still hanging right at the roadway. Most of them appear to be in Bullitt County. Whose
Well,
priority is that?
Of course, it's a state road. My own personal opinion is, over the years, when he built that road back in, I'm going to say 73 or 4, you didn't have all those trees hanging out. And over time, they've let those right-of-ways grow up and grow up and grow up. And then you got, I think it's a huge problem, as you can see, that different administrations through the state, and they've allowed those trees to grow up, and then as they fall over, and then they hit the sides of the roads. And but it is a state road, and my answer to that probably is they haven't got time to do it, plus it's so wet and muddy, and they haven't got them all cleaned up yet. But, when you got trees and stuff out on county roads, state roads, and the shade, it actually doesn't help the blacktop. It actually shades it and doesn't dry with the salt, and it's not really good on the roads. But anyway, that's, and I'm not sure whether, you go down that line. I think most of it probably is in Bullitt County, because you get down to the Bernheim area there. And but I'm just saying it's just a matter, they probably haven't got to it yet. That's his mind.
It's kind of like getting Christmas decorations down for a lot of people outside. It took a little later than usual for them getting them down because of the weather.
Couldn't leave them up. Like some people just leave them up year round. You don't do that?
Nope.
Excuse me. One thing when you go back to the, I was going to talk about the garbage briefly, is because we was on this bulky item subject. The county did raise the garbage rates to $20.61 back last July, and we've talked about this, but not really publicly too much, I guess. People as far as asking questions and writing reports, but I think the average surrounding counties, when we went back and looked, the average is about $23. Even though we did have an increase in garbage trucks, over 200,000, and roll-off trucks. And not this past December, last December, I had to borrow a garbage truck from Marion County to get through, because all ours was just in bad shape and falling apart. And since then, we bought, I think, 2 garbage trucks, and maybe have another one on order, and then 2 roll-off trucks for the roll-off boxes. Now, thank goodness to John Greenville and his staff and the people that's really watching and managing the landfill and the garbage pickup, because to keep it at 2061. We're really thankful because it could have been a lot higher. We're looking at a lot of things. There's on that same subject, I hate to keep harping on it, but we have found hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of unpaid garbage bills that has been built up over the years that we have been going after and collecting, and we've collected, I don't know the exact number, I don't want to tell you here today. There's several more, and we're putting summons out on people to pay the garbage bills. They're coming in and paying them, and we're going after them. And with that being said, we have found hundreds and hundreds and maybe more hundreds of people that's not even getting the garbage bill countywide. So we've really, really been on top of this. We've been riding roads, doing audits, internal, and trying to figure out why that happened over the years. And it actually is going to come back down. We're going to find out there's several $100,000s that the county has not collected, and that's why our equipment out there has been, we haven't kept up with the equipment on the garbage trucks. So you'll hear more about that coming up.
We go to the telephone. Jamie Mattingly, New Haven, is on the phone. Go ahead, sir.
New Haven. Go ahead, Jamie.
What are you doing, Tim?
I don't know if
You doing okay?
I don't know if I had the right Jamie or not. I said, oh my goodness.
You got me, brother. You doing okay?
This same guy here I used to beat in basketball back in my day. Yeah.
Oh, easy now. Easy, big dog. Hey, I got a couple questions for you. The radio guy answered about the bulky items that y'all are going to pick up in New Haven. I thank you for that. Also, I got a drainage problem over here by my house. When they put the new sidewalks in and the drainage up by the fire department and all that stuff, I've reached out to some officials before. I've not mentioned no names, but I couldn't get them to come look at it. Is there any way you can get an engineer of your group to come over and look at the problem and see if everything's fixed? If anything can be fixed on this?
Yeah, how long's that been going on?
Well, whenever they put the new sidewalks and the drainage, and probably 4 to 5 years. And I've reached out a couple of times, and I got kind of tired of reaching out, and I figured maybe with you in there new, maybe you could get somebody to come over and just see if there's anything to be done.
You was reaching out, nobody reached back. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, they kind of, I would say they reached back real hard anyway.
What's your address?
When we get that rain, we get 2 or 3 inches of rain, we get all the water here I live over by the elementary school, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And all the water from up by the fire department all the way down comes, and they got it. Well, it used to not drain that way, but now I get all that water, me and my neighbors, and especially we get a heavy rain, can't do nothing about it. But I know you can't control nature, but maybe there's some way you could put some drainage ditches in or something of that nature. I just wonder if you could maybe get somebody to look at that.
So that's actually off a state road when they put that in? No side?
On 52, yeah, the New Hope Road. I live right across from the elementary school, and we have that problem every time. The other day when it rained all that rain, I said, good God Almighty, I'm going to call Tim one of these days.
You got his number?
Hi.
Just save his number. Give me your phone number.
502-827-4605.
All right, we'll look into it and see if I get some out there and figure it out. I don't know if they get on the state side, but you would think they would put in some detention ponds.
I don't know if state or county or city or what, but I hadn't got much response from the officials everywhere. I'm not mentioning no certain ones, but anyway, I appreciate what you're doing for the county and especially the bulky item and all that. And we on this south side, we appreciate it.
I'm going to come down and look at that myself and then see if we can come up with a solution. How about that?
That sounds good. I'll tell you what, we might have a wild game cooking and have you over.
Well, all right, do that.
All right, bud. Thank you.
See you, man.
Thank you, Mr. Mattingly.
State Road.
Water it's a booger. It goes where it wants to go, and it doesn't care if it's flooding on your property or whatever.
Yeah, especially right now after we had all these ice and snow and the ground's thawing out, then you had all this rain. Some places had over 3 inches, and we're lucky really we're not flooding even more. But
back to our text line here at both the call-in number and the text line 348-2222. Barbara from Cox's Creek would like the judge to explain how county inspections are changing or have changed.
Well, again, I campaigned on that. I think the code enforcement side, and as well as planning zoning, really it wasn't as much on the planning zoning side as the inspection program, which falls under the Nelson County Fiscal Court Code Enforcement. And I campaigned on that, and I promised that I would change it, and I have changed it. And we've eliminated a lot of inspections. Keep going back in history. I think I got
a short
or something here on this thing. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, you're fine.
Well, we passed the inspection program when I was a magistrate and started in somewhere in the mid-90s about inspecting new homes. And that's still on the books. And when they pull a permit, anybody want to build a home, the inspection programs, and so the houses still get inspected. What we did as a fiscal court, I recommended to the court, and they supported it, that we're not going to be inspecting everything that you do on your own property. If you want to go in and remodel your bathroom or change something in your kitchen or your bedroom, that we felt like that's a privacy thing. Once your house is built and you live there, you should be able to do some of that internally on your own without red tape and government interference. If it's a plumbing and or electrical, that goes through the state. It's state law. You still have to pull those permits, or you should pull those permits if you're moving electric and so on for safety reasons. So we've eliminated that when people want to do some of their own work in their own homes and putting in some walls and maybe remodeling their basement and putting up some drywall and so forth. You do not have to do that any longer in the county. If you want to build a garage, an outbuilding, some barns, some of those were previously exempt, some wasn't, depends on the agricultural status. If you want to do a lean-to, all that stuff had to be inspected. Well, I got rid of all that, and the fiscal court supported it. And I think it's a great thing. Now, probably some of the misunderstanding is now the houses are still being inspected. Commercial, state law, you still have to inspect commercial and industrial by state law. Most counties do not even have an inspection program in the countywide. Very few, matter of fact. We put that in years ago, and I still think it's a great thing, and I support it. But when they did this expanded inspection program, I voted against it back then, and I had a commitment to get rid of it, and we got rid of most of it. Since then, the city of Bardstown, and that's fine, they felt like, since they're a lot more dense and people live a lot closer and tighter, they felt like they should go ahead and continue to inspect everything like they did in the past. So they have hired their own inspector in the city of Bardstown, and city limits are doing their own inspections now, electrical and building. If it's plumbing, you got to call the state anyway. HVAC, you got to call the state. You can't do HVAC if somebody's qualified to do the inspection. So we have done that. That's what I campaigned on, and we have done it. And I think so far it's been very positive, and people appreciate that the government will come in and tell everybody what to do all the time. So hope I answered that question.
All right, we're going to go to the telephone, and still on the line with us, this is Deborah Durbin of New Haven. Good morning, Ms. Durbin.
Another New Haven. That's two from New Haven, right? Go ahead, Deborah.
I several years ago had a son-in-law that passed away with cancer. When the doctors finally told us that we needed to call in hospice, but he was getting so bad that we called him in. They came to his house. We were there. When they had seen that he had a feeding tube, they closed the books and said, "You're not eligible." I never realized, because you had a feeding tube in Nelson County, you couldn't get help from hospice. He had to go to Hardin Memorial regular to get infusion, and they told us the only way we could get hospice is we'd have to move him out of Nelson County. We'd have to either move him to Hardin or Rue or anywhere but Nelson County. Once on a Saturday, they told us that he wasn't going to make it. and they sent him home, and they had taken the feeding tube out, or it wasn't functioning. Then hospice came, and they gave him shots and medication. The whole time he was beforehand, he couldn't get any kind of pain meds or anything through hospice. They wouldn't help him because he had a feeding tube. I wanted to ask, what is it needs to be done to change this for Nelson County?
And you telling me that's a Nelson County, Rue County, and Hardin County? They said they could go there, and they did not have those, so they could do whatever you asked them to do, but not Nelson County.
Right. They said for him to have home health care or hospice, we would have to move him out of Nelson County to Hardin, LaRue, where they would give help with feeding tubes, but Nelson County wouldn't. They had hospice on Party Line one time, and I tried to get in touch with them and talk to them, but I never was able to get anything out. This was very hard to deal with. We have a dying guy, but we can't get help until
Right. I
they don't come to this day.
I can understand it for sure. I have not been through it, but I can understand it. That's awful. I don't know I can give you the answer, but I will find out the answer for you. Do I have your number? Do I have your phone number?
Oh, you need my phone? Okay, 502
Mm-hmm.
510-8124. Now, if it's changed, I don't know.
When did this happen?
Been 5 years.
5
It's
years?
been 5 years ago. Mm-hmm.
I don't know who you talked to here. Did you talk to people at our ambulance service or anybody here that would help you? Or...
No, the doctors where he was doing chemo told us if they would get in touch with hospice, and we met. They came to their house.
Mm-hmm.
The hospice in Nelson County, and we were there. And when she seen his feet, asked what his tube was, and we told him she closed her books up and got up and left, and said, "You're not eligible."
Yeah, well, that's the first I've heard of it, but I will find out. I will find out some answers. Okay.
Yes, in his name, yes.
Yeah, but you say it happened about 5 years ago.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll find
He
out.
wasn't but 34. He wasn't but 34 years old.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll get you some answers, and I'll probably be the first of the week, and I'll get back with you next week. Okay.
Well, if it's the wall here, it needs to be changed because it's not right.
I don't think it's a county law. It's kind of, well, I'm not going to make any comments because I don't really know, but I will get back with you and let you know, and we'll address it as soon as I find out. When we find out the answers, I will address this on the radio also next week or probably the week after, as soon as I get the answers.
Okay, well, I'd appreciate it, and thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. That's an interesting story there, Roth. I haven't ever heard anything like that, but...
Well, we have those, they're under two different, one is hospice, which is outside of Nelson County, and inside Nelson County is hospice. And so there are different entities, and obviously they can have different
I think she said
rules,
hospice.
I guess so.
I think she said hospice,
Yeah.
but I'll call back and confirm that.
Okay.
And figure out, make sure I'm on the right page here, because...
From the text line, Judge, it says, "I live in the county and I hate to pay Bardstown income tax all year long, and I can't vote for them. Can you put a cap on it?"
The direct answer is no, and that's a statewide issue. What I do know, I'll tell you about. But the county, back before it was in the early '90s, before I got elected as a magistrate, and the county put on an occupational tax. It's a 0.5% and a $75 cap, and that's county. And I think it was fairly unpopular, and it may have been the reason I won in 93 or 94. Don't know. But anyway, I won. There's a lot of changes that's happened in occupational tax statewide. The city of Bardstown adopted one. I'm gonna think it was in the year 2000 somewhere. I don't know exactly what year it was, and they had a 0.5, I think, starting out, and then they raised it to 0.1%, and then they took the cap off of it. So theirs is 1% with no cap. That's the city of Bardstown. And I'm not here criticizing or saying anything negative to anybody. I'm just letting you know what the
That's the facts.
That's just the facts. Now the county, if the county goes in and changes theirs, so you take a guy that's making, we all got to have taxes to live and survive, and we've cut and cut and cut. Fiscal court made up. I'm not going to get into all this. I'm not going to get into all of it today, but I've got, and I can prove it, tons of changes that we save money. But the fact of the matter is there's a limited amount of what you can get. We do not have a health insurance tax in this county. There's 8 counties in the Lincoln Trail Health Association. Hardin and Nelson, Marion, and so on, 8 counties. Only one county does not have what you call a health insurance tax. That's Nelson County. The previous judge, Dean, he said that several times, and I think this year we'll have to write a check for the $1.1 million and $1.2 million to the health department to operate our health department out of the general fund taxes. So I've got to sign a check for $1.2 million. Think about that for a minute. Many other counties have insurance taxes. Nelson County does not have an insurance tax. Many counties, several of them have an EMS tax. We do not have that.
So when those taxes, I know the health department you're referring to would be property tax. Would the other ones be on property?
It would be on, now the structure of it I couldn't tell you exactly, but I think it would be on property. Okay. I'm bringing this up, trying to answer this question for this gentleman. If the county changed the occupational tax ordinance that we got in place, then we'd have to turn around and give the city some credits on our occupational tax where the state law is. It's really hard to understand, and I'd have to ask and see our budget to see what we collect on occupational tax, but it's not near as much as what you think it is. But again, if you live in the city, I've heard this before, I pay city taxes, but I can't vote for any city representatives because I live in the county. The only way that could be changed is I think the state law would have to change that. Just try to give him a direct answer. It takes a lot to operate. I'm not criticizing the city by no means, because I do know when you look at some of the costs throughout the state and some other things, there's, especially on the county side, we run a very frugal, this fiscal court and myself and all my staff, and if you go out and you take in somebody's, when you pay all these, and then we got to pay, 2.1 million to operate the jail out of the general fund, out of the property taxes. Right at $2 million operate the EMS this coming year out of the property taxes. And then you say 1.1 or 2 million to the for the health department, and then the Lincoln Trail Ad District, we have to write as a percentage. We got to give them several hundreds of thousands of dollars a year too. You add all that up, there's not a whole lot left to go around, and we're getting ready to lose this bourbon tax in a few years. So we're working diligently just trying to solve that. So I don't know if I answered the gentleman's question, but I think that would have to be a state law change in effect to do that.
And as it stands, if you're employed within the city limits, the occupational tax impacts you, no matter where you live. You could live in the next county, you would pay the occupational tax if you worked inside the city limits.
Yeah.
Back to the text line, Judge says, I would like to compliment the Planning and Zoning Office and Board. I had a little business to take care of with them. They were extremely helpful. Good job, people.
Well, that's great. And we had, I'm not going to be bashful about it. I've had some issues with several offices when I came in. I heard a lot of complaints with several county offices when I came in during the campaign. And I think we have strived to make changes, and you may have heard me say this, if there's people have an attitude, they're not going to be around me very long. If it's not a positive attitude, and I get continuous complaints, and I don't care what office it is, there's one way, shape, or form, I'm going to try to either fix it or somebody's going to be leaving. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positions right here that have either left for various reasons. Some of them retired, and then there's probably, I know there's one more here that's not included. That's 8.
Now, those are job openings, and
These are positions that either got filled by contract labor, which saved the county a ton of money, or they got eliminated because they wasn't doing their job,
okay.
or the old saying is some of them were maybe milking the clock. And I just be point blank about it. I'm pretty well let people know my nature. I don't really have too much stuff, so we've taken on, I'll just tell you real quick, Washington County Garbage, that I renewed that contract with them. I worked with Judge Graves and got that done. Last year was the first year without hiring any more labor at the landfill or equipment. This cash flow, what helped the landfill, it's about $600,000 a year bringing on. Since then, maybe we have put on one more person on the roll-off trucks, because that's actually where their cash, it's a positive cash influence on the landfill. Our health insurance, first year I announced we went self-insured with the umbrella on, I think it's UMR, and to save the county $861,000 by going self-insured. Then as I go down through here with these other 7, really 8 positions, that if you add it up, you take one position, if a guy makes $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year, and it's hard to find anybody not making that anymore that's qualified. And then you got to pay their retirement, then you got to pay their health insurance, and every single one of these had to take home a truck, like this guy was referred to earlier. So that's a positive cash flow of $2.2 million for the county. When you add that cash flow back, take the health insurance and these employees. Now, I'm not going to say it's, since then we have replaced some of these people with some contracts, some other employees that was paid for through one employee's paid for part of it through a grant, and we had a contract, actually a building inspector for the homes. And so we've cost us about, I figured about it, and of course Rhonda, my treasurer, she might fuss at me, but my numbers I think are fairly accurate. It probably cost us close to $210,000. So in all reality, we've saved the county per year after that first year going to the second year. It's about $2 million a year in savings. And of course, what's that mean? That means we have been able to give raises to the employees that we've got. We've eliminated the ones that didn't want to stay here, that didn't want to work with me. And we brought in people that's going to fit our program and been able to give more raises to the people that deserve it. We've got better insurance. We've got 2 policies on the health insurance that we didn't have before. We offered them another outpatient, like through the Blue Mine Outpatient Center. We work with our employees. We got the police raises. EMS, garbage, everybody has got some raises they deserve. Garbage truck guys, how did we do it? By saving this kind of money right here. And I would put our staff up against anybody by doing this. And we could not have done it without this. And it makes, it's a lot of work. I want to, thank my staff and everybody that's under me directly at the courthouse up there to help me manage all this, because it's a lot. And just taking over the health insurance, for example, I mean that's more on my staff up there. So, but by doing all these things, it saves. You got a business mindset, and it saves the county a lot of money. And then you take all the departments. We don't have hardly any turnover anymore. It took a while, Very little turnover. We got people applying for jobs now instead of out begging for jobs, or for us begging for employees. So that's a pretty positive impact. It's the first time I've said this, well, today, 'cause I worked on this and worked on it, and I may not be exactly right. And that's not counting the inmate program. You know, when we worked, the fiscal court worked with the jailer hall and our road department, and we've got, you know, these inmates going out, and, you know, that's close to, not even counting that, I'd say it's probably another $300,000-400,000 that we've saved, plus we've done about another $500,000 worth of work that we would never been able to do, plus picking up the garbage, plus cleaning the community up. And, we've helped New Haven tremendously. They needed a lot of support. Fairfield, you know, they just don't have the resources. So our inmate program's going over there, and we've helped them do a lot of projects. Doing one in Fairfield today. We're getting ready to clean the river up in New Haven. You know, you've heard about that, all the debris down there. You know, the old story was, I heard when I was campaigning, New Haven, Bloomfield, Fairfield, Chapin, we've been left out, we've been left out, we've been left out. And I told them I promised them I'm not going to leave them out. So we've done a lot of programs, and we've had some ARPA money, thank goodness, to help do some of that. City of Bardstown, we use the inmate programs there too. We help them with a lot of things, internal leaf pickup, and let's say Fairfield, Bloomfield, New Haven, and all these outlying communities. We've done a tremendous amount of work. And again, with these savings here, we bought more equipment at the road department, got the best equipment we've had for many years, and that enabled us to do more things for the community. So, but the inmate program, you know, that's been such a positive thing, and then we got that pretty well finessed. That's what I told Justin, I think here a few months ago. We texted him back and forth, and we had some hiccups. We had some issues going through that first year and a half, but we've got it down pretty good now, and it's really worked out a lot. We're very good for the community. So, you got any more calls?
No, sir. And I just checked, and the text line is clear. So, closing in on the last couple of minutes of this premier edition of Around the County with Nelson County Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins.
Well, I want to thank Joe Hills for sponsoring this show personally. I know that this is not it's not a political show, but by no means. This is just but it's not paid for by tax dollars. It's paid for by private sponsorship. And as of today, Joe Hills is the sponsor, and you worked all the details with him. So this show is not costing taxpayers any money. It's not a political show. It's just it's what I call a community show, trying to get answers out for everybody. And as we get this word out and people know that we've got this going on, and we put out to social media more and more, hopefully get more questions. And the text is, like you said, the easiest way to get these texts out. And I don't know if I answered everybody's questions, but we will definitely try to make everything in the county better for everybody and get answers, and hopefully move everything even better than it is today. That's my ultimate goal.
Judge, finally, anything in the meeting this morning that stood out that you wanted the listening audience to?
Well, the big thing was our heating and air unit again. We're working on that. You take 1.1 million. Again, I'll show you where we're saving all this money. Luckily, that we have been trying to save some money so we can fix some of these problems, and it just takes a lot of money to operate. You can't keep kicking the can down the road. We got to fix these things, and then of course the bulky item. That's the big thing, is let everybody know in the community they can bring their limbs and small trees next to the roadways. We don't want to get on their property. We can't get on their property. We don't want to tear up their property. So that's the two big things I would say happened today. Thank you, Roth, for everything, and the citizens, everybody keep listening to these shows, and you listen to all the Facebook, social media, and we're here to try to serve the community the best we can.
That's Around the County with Nelson County Judge-Executive Tim Hutchins. It's underwritten by Joe Hills Auto Service Center here in Bardstown. We'll be back with the second show next Tuesday, just after the 11 o'clock news.